Hello, I'm I'm Rhett Martin, here from Millersburg. My little company is called Hobby Farm Studios. You can find me online on Facebook and Etsy and places like that. I'm going to give you the basic lowdown of how I make parts for the props that I make, and what you're going to see in the pretty pink. These are molds of real-world parts, scratch-built parts out of whatever was found at the time on the film that I've since replicated, or sculpted pieces that I've made to replicate pieces. And it's actually, once I get to this point, it's really easy. It's pretty much mix, pour, repeat. And you can see that I've got many parts that have already been made for Harry Potter props and Ghostbuster backpacks. This is a two-part epoxy resin, or urethane plastic, sorry. And pretty simple. I mix it, measure it up. It's a 1-to-1 mixture. I put a little mold release in these molds that's already been done. You got to keep it warm. You got to keep it shook up. So I've got a nice little mix now. Now for these parts, the prop that I'm making is supposed to be very bony. So we add a little color to it, which is just a little white, because this resin cures up a nice tan color. So we hit it with this white and we get a nice tan color. If we can get this stuff to come out, because I've probably had it for 10 years. But what's fun is it lasts that long. There we go. So it's sitting there right now. It's unmixed, no coloring. Now that I'm doing this, they're going to mix. The resin will activate. And I've got about 3 minutes to get it in the molds and get all the air bubbles out. And I use a few different techniques to do that. But in most cases, I just pour it and go and hope for the best. I've got a couple of different types of molds that we've got going on. I've got a split mold, which has a split down the middle, so I pull the part and pop it out. I've got a squish mold, which is named so cleverly because I'm going to drop the top of that and squish all the resin out. And then this is a drop mold, which I just drop the resin in. This one is a harder piece because it has many little ridges and details and things, so I'm going to have to go back through and actually pull the air bubbles out of it. These two are fine, but I have little junky tools that I use, and I just go in and move it around, and you can see little air bubbles are starting to come out of there. So if I don't get them out of there, I get a big hole in my piece, and then I got to go in with filler, and I got to get it Bondo in there. But as I do this, it just, everybody gets in there. I just try to move the resin around a little bit because it's still liquid at this point. And as it starts to cure, it'll kick off a little bit of heat. And then it will get very hot and will actually bloom. You'll actually see the color change to a nice white. That's my squish mold, and I'm just going to squish it right down. And that'll take about 5 minutes for everything to cure. And then I'll let it kind of cool down, and then I'll pop it out and I'll start all over again. So we'll come back with finished cured parts. So it's been about 5-6 minutes. Since we have smaller castings, thinner castings, bigger castings, some of the little ones are taking longer. But we have one that's actually done, and it's pretty simple. This is our split mold, and I just lightly yank it open. And if I go nice and slow, I won't tear my silicone. And what I can actually do is just roll that right out of there. And we have a ion knob for a Ghostbusters proton pack. What it really is it's just a small bellow for machines. That's all it is, but they thought it looked cool, so onto the movie prop it went. And these are actually notoriously difficult to find. And after about 3 years, I found the correct one to use on my proton packs, and now I'm making castings of them, which makes me really happy because now I can make money. But we see the other ones, and you can kind of see how the resin is changing color. And it just, as they go, it'll take a little bit and we'll pop them and they'll be ready to go.